Over the past few years, we've obviously been experiencing increasing energy costs at the Shire, and we know that there's further increases just around the corner. Knowing that, the Shire felt that it was time to really take some serious action on minimising these costs. Now, because we operate and own our own landfill, we were potentially going to be directly liable under the carbon tax. Fortunately, we received a last-minute reprieve, at least for the first 3 years of the scheme. But in any case, aligning our greenhouse emission footprint with the NGERS framework is a best practice measure.
The process has been slightly long drawn, but no success can be claimed unless you do a thorough study and research. The new model had to be reviewed, had to be evaluated because it had some features which were not in the old model. The main thing was we had to understand how the system would apply to Darebin's own model that was there earlier. First of all, there was this whole issue about significant reporting standards, and that needed to be moderated towards Darebin's needs. The second issue was there was a concern that we would lose the old data, so we needed to have an overlap between the old model and bringing in the new one, and therefore the comparative measurement and the way the success factor would be reckoned was very important to have that. The third thing has been the introduction of Scope 3, which is a voluntary way of embracing the Scope 3 targets, and that needed time to be understood and reviewed and evaluated. So overall it took a couple of years, but in late 2010, I think November 2010, Darebin, the management and the staff went to the council with a report on moving to the new system. And the council, of course, understood the benefits of the new system. So in November 2010, the council adopted the report for moving into the new system. However, in this year, when we are reporting, we'll have a parallel process. So we'll have the reporting from the old CCP model, as well as the NGERS model, which will exactly plot for us what the success factors have been.
Well, certainly we'd had a long-term commitment through the CCP program to actually getting a greater understanding of all of the emissions and what our footprint was, and that was further supported then by the development of our environmental sustainability plan, and we needed to think about how we were going to address this once that program ceased, and felt that reading the landscape, the best way forward was actually to invest in getting that capacity in-house, because it was only going to become an area that was going to have a greater impact on council's resources into the future. So we needed to be able to have that knowledge and that capacity to undertake the work and have the conversations in-house. There is also some issues in relation to our future budgets, our resourcing plans that we need to be really careful about. Landfill, we've got a landfill that quite clearly looks like it's going to be captured under the framework, and so we need to look at how we can capture that information to look at better informed solutions about how we might manage those emissions. And that's just a clear example about how it makes good business sense to actually be involved in understanding your emissions to ensure that you're putting in place the best business practices you can.